So a lot of big picture stuff when I think about the draft. And first of all, let me say this, and I'm going to say it again during this segment, but I want to reiterate. A lot of people look at the NFL draft as its own entity, as its own showcase, as its own event. And if you do, you would be correct. Now, from an entertainment purpose and from the entertainment side, that's how I want you to look at it. But when it comes to the football standpoint, remember that the draft is simply a cog in the whole picture of an NFL team. There's also free agency. There's also trades. There's also all these other things that have to do with building a franchise and building a team and getting the best 52-man roster that you can. So the draft is a huge event, but it's just a part of what a team is trying to do. So overall reaction, let me start with Kansas City. I think what Kansas City did in the first round and going two players on the defensive side of football, it showed me that even if the Patrick Mahomes MVP era is over, and I'm not saying that it is, I'm just saying there are a lot of people that may have the misconception or may have the mindset that because the Chiefs in the first round didn't go after a wide receiver, didn't go after whatever, that Mahomes does not have enough help. I think the Chiefs are showing you their identity. Just because the Mahomes MVP era may be over doesn't mean the Mahomes Super Bowl era is over. It actually is far from it, because if you look at what they did in free agency and going to get Kenneth Walker, and what did they do when they won back-to-back Super Bowls? They went defense. They drafted the Trent McDuffies of the world. They drafted the George Karlaftis of the world. So now that Trent McDuffie got traded to L.A., they went ahead and got his replacement with the number 6 pick that they traded up for, and Mansour Delane, who was the number 1 corner in this draft. And then with the 29th pick, they go and get Peter Woods out of Clemson. So now you've got Chris Jones, Kyrish Tonga that you got from the Patriots if you're the Chiefs, and now you've got Peter Woods. So what they've been doing, you remember when they had Joe Tooney? They had one of the best interior offensive lines in football. They went and got Josh Simmons last year to solidify that left side. Kingsley Suamatea as well to solidify that offensive line along with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey. The Chiefs are building the way championship teams build, and I think they want to be a team that can run the football and beat you up defensively. They just happen to have the best quarterback in the NFL. So again, don't get it twisted. In my estimation, I think they knocked it out of the park in the first round with what they needed and what's going to help them on the defensive side of football. Because if you look at the Eagles and you look at the Seahawks and you look at the teams that have just won Super Bowls, it's been because of their defense. Just because you have an all-pro and an all-world quarterback doesn't mean you have to depend on him to do everything. So I like that for Kansas City. Secondly, the fact that Caleb Downs was even available at 11 for the Dallas Cowboys is unconscionable to me. I don't even believe it, because I told you, I'm sitting here with his name. I've got like 4 or 5 stars around his name. Caleb Downs is a monster. I made a video a couple of months ago talking about what an exceptional player he would be, and this just reiterates why people need to look at Dallas through a real lens and not through the lens of just being the bad Cowboys that people want them to be. They're phenomenal when they draft. They've taken the past 3 or 4 years to build their offensive line, and now they've gone out and gotten guys like Rashawn Gary on the defensive side of football. They also drafted Malachi Lawrence to, if you want to call him Micah Parsons' replacement, somebody on the edge who can go get the quarterback, fine. But Caleb Downs is a transcendent game changer, and he's a savant when it comes to being on the defense, when it comes to calling plays. Listen, if you can start as a freshman on a Nick Saban coach defense and be the guy who makes sure everybody's in place to make sure that we're not missing our coverages and missing our assignments, you're that deal. That's all I want to say there. So the Cowboys are continuing to impress me in the draft, and I said this last week. The Cowboys, to me, are a legitimate playoff contender, and they keep proving to be a team that's formidable regardless of people want them to be. So let me go ahead and hit this before I go to our next segment, and I want to go ahead and address it. Ty Simpson going to the Rams was one of the smartest things that the Rams could have done. And I know that there are a lot of people that feel like this was a stupid move. They feel that Matthew Stafford just won the MVP. Why are you going to get Ty Simpson, especially with the 13th overall pick? Because you traded the 29th pick. You don't have it anymore. Kansas City had it. So we thought you may get him there, but why get him now? You're creating too much of a competition at quarterback. First of all, if Matthew Stafford felt threatened by Ty Simpson being drafted, Matthew Stafford wouldn't be who Matthew Stafford is. Trust me, that man has no issue in my mind. And the Rams also let him know that they were going to draft Ty Simpson. But don't we kill teams in the NFL when they don't have answers at the quarterback spot? We killed Cleveland because they didn't have answers at the quarterback spot. We killed the Vikings because presumably Kevin O'Connell didn't have answers at the quarterback spot after letting Sam Darnold go, right? We killed the Cardinals for not having answers at the quarterback spot. We killed the Jets for not having answers at the quarterback spot. We killed the Steelers for not having answers at the quarterback spot. So now that the Rams have an answer in Matthew Stafford, and then they want to have an answer for the next 2 years after that and for the foreseeable future with potentially Ty Simpson, why is it a problem? And people say, well, he's not going to help them win now. No, you're right. They went out and got Trick McDuffie and Jalen Watson to help them win now. I think that's what made this possible. Do you know what the reason the Rams lost to me in the divisional championship game, quote unquote, de facto against the Seahawks and then again in the NFC championship game was because their secondary was bad. They couldn't cover, they couldn't tackle, they couldn't make plays, and Seattle took advantage of it. The Rams addressed that in free agency. They addressed that via trade. Again, so stop thinking that the draft is its own entity when it comes to building a team. Those moves allowed the Rams to go out and get the guy that they feel like can be their future at the quarterback spot. So when you have a team that is buttoned up now, a la the Green Bay Packers, and buttoned up for the future, it can't help but hurt if you don't understand what's going on. But if you understand what's going on, it's a situation to where you know that the Rams are doing what they need to do. They're still competing at a high level. That 13th pick, if you're going to say that pick was going to get them the Super Bowl, that's fine, but it's hypothetical. We don't know. But what I do know is I trust Les Snead, I trust Sean McVay, I trust what the organization is doing, and I also trust the fact that great teams put themselves in position to win now and later.